In 1908, something exploded over Siberia with the force of hundreds of atomic bombs. It flattened an area the size of a major city. It knocked people off their feet 100 miles away, and to this day, no one is completely certain what it was. It was the morning of June 30th, 1908, in one of the most remote places on Earth, the vast, empty forests of central Siberia, near the Tunguska River. There were few people for hundreds of miles. But those who were there witnessed something apocalyptic. A brilliant column of blue-white light, brighter than the sun, streaked across the sky. And then came a blast that split the heavens. The explosion was almost beyond comprehension. It released energy estimated at hundreds of times that of the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. It flattened an estimated 80 million trees across more than 2,000 square kilometers of forest, snapping them like matchsticks. The trees were laid out in a vast radial pattern pointing away from the center. Herders were thrown into the air. Windows shattered dozens of miles away. The shockwave was so powerful, it was detected on instruments across Europe and Asia. In the nights that followed, something eerie happened across the northern hemisphere. The skies glowed. In parts of Europe and Asia, the nights were so bright that people could read outdoors at midnight without a lamp. Something had been thrown high into the atmosphere, scattering light across the whole planet. And yet, because the region was so isolated, almost no one connected these glowing skies to a catastrophe unfolding in the Siberian wilderness. The full scale of what had happened stayed hidden for years. It wasn't until nearly 20 years later that the first scientific expedition finally reached the site. The lead researcher expected to find a massive impact crater and a chunk of whatever had struck the Earth. But when he arrived, he found something baffling. There was devastation everywhere. Mile after mile of toppled, scorched trees. But there was no crater, no giant meteorite, no obvious point of impact at all. Strangely, at the very center, some trees were still standing upright, stripped of their branches, but rooted in place. That missing crater is the key to the mystery. The leading explanation today is that a space rock, an asteroid, or a fragment of a comet, perhaps 60 meters across, never actually hit the ground. Instead, as it tore through the atmosphere at enormous speed, the heat and pressure caused it to violently explode several kilometers up in an airburst. That's why there's no crater. The object destroyed itself in the sky, releasing its colossal energy as a downward blast of heat and force that flattened the forest below. Tunguska is more than a historical curiosity, it's a warning. It remains the largest impact event in recorded history, and it happened in our modern era, with witnesses. Now imagine it had struck a few hours later over a major city instead of empty forest. The devastation would have been unthinkable. That's why scientists today take the tracking of near-Earth objects so seriously. Tunguska proved that the sky can, without warning, deliver a catastrophe. Over a century later, the Siberian forest has grown back, and the mystery has mostly been solved. But standing among those regrown trees, it's hard not to feel small, knowing that one quiet morning, the universe reminded our planet just how fragile it really is.